Syracuse Orange fans, can you feel the heat?
What is going on, Cuse Nation, and welcome to yet another edition of Orange Heat. My name's Giovanni Heater, as always, and thank you so much for joining me. I got a great show for you here today as we're dwindling down the end of summer, yes, the end of August, and we're talking Syracuse basketball. The Orange took a trip over to Italy across the pond to play 4 consecutive games against Italian all-star teams. There's a lot of takeaways, a lot of things to build off of, and a lot of excitement to dive into with that. But before we get into all of that, I do want to ask you guys, please, as always, like, comment, and subscribe for more Orange Heat action. If I could just ask you guys, each and every one of you, to share this with one person, one friend, it could make all the difference. We want to spread this across all of Orange Nation. We want to make this the most watched show and the most watched podcast. Thank you guys so much for all your support. There are some of you out there that are avid fans. You watch every single episode. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Keep it going, and let's go Orange, baby. Woo! All right, let's get into this. Jim Boeheim went on record in an interview saying that the competition level for this trip to Italy just wasn't exactly what they had necessarily expected. I mean, this was about a Division II level of competition. You're not talking, your Dukes. You're not talking anybody at the D1 level. You're talking more of a Lemoyne or a more of a Dartmouth, stuff like that Syracuse necessarily doesn't play on a regular basis, but they do use it to get the wheels turning a little bit at the beginning of the season. And I think that this trip is more than just basketball. I think that this trip is all about these guys spending 10 days together in another country, bonding, getting closer with one another, because those kind of connections are going to make all the difference once they hit the court come the end of October and early November. Before we get into the biggest takeaways, the biggest things that I drew from this, I do want to throw some stats at you, which is pretty exciting. Barama Sidibe looks the healthiest that he's ever been, and Jim Boeheim would agree with that, as he said in an interview. The last few seasons, he's been struggling with a knee injury. 2 seasons ago, it really bothered him. In the one game, it didn't bother him. You saw him blow out and just destroy a very good Pitt basketball team on the road. And then last season, he had a little bit of difficulty. You saw there was still a little bit of injury lingering with him. And as well as that, he was playing underneath Pascal Chukwu. Jim Boeheim says the knee looks better than ever. This is the best he's seen him move, the best he's seen him jump, and the best he's seen him play within this system. He averaged 12 rebounds per game in the trip across the ocean to Italy, and that was 17 rebounds in the last game. So if that's not exciting, I don't know what is. Rebounding was one of our biggest problems last season, and one of the things that we needed the most work on, in my opinion, going into this season. That certainly looks promising when you're pulling stuff off the boards. Now, the height difference was certainly a factor. As we know, Jim Boeheim always recruits a very tall team, a very lengthy team, because that's what you need for the 2-3 zone. So I'm sure the Italian teams were a little bit undersized compared to us, but nonetheless, 17 rebounds in a ball game, that looks pretty promising at least. The Orange as a whole scored 369 points, and they averaged 92 points per game. There was a game where they reached up into the almost 120 points mark, and then the first game they did kick off a little bit of jet lag, possibly a little bit of tiredness. They only scored 69 points, winning that game by 10 of a total of 69-59 as a final. But nonetheless, the Orange scoring 92 points, that's certainly exciting. Usually this is a team slow, methodical, eats out the shot clock both offensively and defensively, and you're lucky if they score 70 points a game. That's real exciting. To average 92 and score up into the hundreds looks very good for this Orange basketball team. This is going to be a team that's going to be able to score in bunches, score in transition, make their own opportunities, and that's certainly exciting. The Orange went 45.7% from the field. Very, very good number right there, just making about half of their baskets, which in college basketball is a really good number. That's where you want to be. And the Orange shot 36.2% from three. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not great, but not bad. I'll take that all day, especially with the young, inexperienced. They were shooting with a little bit of a deeper line. They were shooting with an international line, which is what college basketball is moving up to now with the new rule change. But some of these guys didn't, coming right out of high school, obviously didn't use that. The guys like Elijah Hughes weren't used to that last college basketball season. That plays a little bit of a difference. They've been practicing with it. We'll see what happens come the season. But not bad. 36.2% from three. That's a good number right there. One thing that did stuck out to me that was a little bit cause for concern was they only shot 58.8% from the free throw line. Now, I guess some things just never change. Syracuse never really a fantastic free throw shooting team. That hurts. That hurts when it comes down the stretch in big games. We'll see what happens. Jim Boeheim got to let him get him some extra reps with that. Certainly nothing to worry about just yet. It's early on. It's not even this regular season yet. We'll see what happens. Jalen Carey went 57.2% from the field and averaged 11.8 points per game. He really took care of the ball well in the last 3 games. A few turnovers in the first one. Everybody was a little bit, confused out there, a little bit tired with the jet lag and everything. But he played really well in this Italy trip, which is good. That's something we needed to see because someone's got to fill that void at the point guard position. Frank Howard was decent. He was pretty good. We need somebody to be even better than him if we want to hit that next level and really catch stride early on in this season. And Jalen Carey's young. He showed that he's capable of scoring in games like the UConn game last year, dropping 26 points. But we need to see him take care of the ball as well as score in bunches and find his teammates. And he did just that against these Italian all-star teams. Another guy I wanted to talk about, Quincy Carter. Some people pronounce it Guerrier, whatever it is. He played like an absolute animal on this trip to Italy. Quincy Carter, he's a recruit from Canada, and the exciting thing about him is that Syracuse is really developing a pipeline in Canada. And I'm not just talking basketball either. Obviously, basketball, you have Tyler Ennis, O'Shea Brissett, now Quincy Carter, but football as well. They just got a big wide receiver recruit from Canada coming down. The university is making connections, and the thing about Canadian recruits is that they're underrated. There's not as much of a recruiting spotlight on the nation of Canada, and there's not as much attention paid over there. So when guys come here, they're underrated, under-recruited, and understarred. Quincy Carter, listed as a 3-star, he could honestly be a 4-star, reaching into the 5-star caliber talent, but he never played in the Americas, never got that exposure. And that's the exciting thing about him, as well as all of the Canadian recruits like Tyler Ennis, like an O'Shea Brissett. And Syracuse is developing that pipeline. It's growing out there. It's exciting to see for the university and for the future of all the programs, not just football, not just basketball, but everything as a whole. As you know, Canadian lacrosse is extremely big as well. So exciting stuff. Quincy Carter, he averaged 9.5 rebounds a game, which is huge to see out of that, forward guard position. Not exactly sure what he's going to be just yet. He averaged 11.8 points per game, and he shot 65% from the field. That's a staggering number. That's really exciting. He's very efficient. He's not going to take your bad, unnecessary shots. 65 is a big number. That's exciting right there. And I think he's going to be a double-double machine this upcoming season for the Orange. He's huge. He's got a huge physical presence on the court. He's got a very mature body, and he's a true athlete, which is exciting, something we really haven't had in a while. A guy that can take over a game. Tyus Battle, up to that caliber, but Quincy's a little less unselfish than Tyus. Really exciting. Another guy who was huge on this trip, obviously my favorite player coming in, a lot of people's favorite, the hometown hero, Joe Girard III. He averaged 10 points. He was 44% from beyond the arc, and he led this team in the last game with 16 points. So very exciting. He showed that he can score the ball. He showed that he can move the ball well, averaging about 5 assists per game as well. And I'm very excited to see him what kind of contributions he's going to make. Big stuff there. Elijah Hughes, obviously, he's a guy who's going to be the leader of this basketball team. He's the most experienced besides Barama Sidibe. He's going to be the go-to scorer. Everyone's going to look for him when in trouble. He's going to be looked at to take over basketball games when needed and to lead this team on and off the court. Obviously, he's got the green light from Jim Boeheim as well. He went off over in Italy, averaging 14 points a game, and he went 42% from the field. He's going to be the biggest contributor coming up this season just because experience is going to play into that, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for Elijah Hughes with his little guitar strumming after each basket. Buddy Buckets looked very good as always. He was very poised. He looked experienced out there. He looked confident. He led the team in points in the third game with 22, which was the highest anybody scored throughout the entire trip. Which the exciting thing about that is, excuse me, this team scores 120 points during a game, and then Buddy Buckets is out here only scoring 22 of those. Well, that means that everybody on the floor is contributing. That means the ball's moving well, and when your highest score is 22 out of a 120-point game, everybody's scoring. You're talking walk-ons, which I'll get into in a second. You're talking everybody that's going to see the floor, inside, outside, a lot of three-pointers. That's definitely promising when you want to wean away from the one-man attack in the real one-on-one isolation type play. So that's exciting number to see. Buddy Boeheim certainly played well. Some other guys that I'm excited to see big time are Jesse Edwards. He scored about 10 points a game in this trip. He played pretty well on the inside. He's going to be a good second or third to a Jock who did not get to make this trip due to green card issues. They just couldn't make it work. But Jesse Edwards is going to get on the court, I think. He's going to be a good sub when Barama Sidibe needs a little bit of a rest as well. Exciting stuff there. Robert Braswell didn't really do anything super impressive. Wondering what his future is going to hold. You could see a transfer situation, not exactly sure right now. Howard Washington, however, played very well. That guy been through a lot recently, suffered a stroke earlier on in the year, and he's making strides, getting back on the court. Very exciting to see him. Now, John Bolajak, as I said, I got to talk about what I am expecting from him. I'm expecting a big rebounding presence and a presence inside offensively, something we lacked with Pascal Chukwu in there and Barama Sidibe when he wasn't at his full potential. So I'm definitely excited to see what John Bolajak has to offer. And the walk-ons got in there, played a bunch. You're talking, 20 minutes at a time, which is big numbers as far as minutes goes compared to the real SU basketball season. So that was exciting. And really, this trip, the biggest takeaways here is this team learning how to play together. I'm talking court cohesion. I'm talking chemistry. They're on the court together. They're passing the ball around. They're learning where each other is, getting ahead of the game compared to you're playing your two exhibition games and then hopping right on the court, because you got to think, we have the Virginia Cavaliers, defending national champions, playing against us in our first regular season game. That's huge. That's something we've never seen before. That's new with the ACC network. And that's why this trip is so crucial. A lot of the time when you see teams go on trips like this, they walk away making deep runs in the tournament. Winning big games early on, making national championship runs even, because they have that much more time together. They know where each other is. It's exciting, it's big, and it's crucial when you have a team this young. I talked about it in the live stream. I'm very excited about the youth of this team. I'm very excited that Elijah Hughes is going to be a leader, but him and Sidibe are, and you could say Howard Washington and Carey are really the only returners. There's so much young depth at this team. You're talking Joe Girard, you're talking, Boeheim. Guys that didn't see big minutes like Carey and Boeheim are going to see more this year. You still have Dolajai, who also played well on the trip as well, which I'm really excited. The future's looking bright right now just because of you could be scared of the inexperience, which I understand, but I'm excited for it because they all look so good. They look like they're playing well together. They're passing the ball, which is huge. No more of that isolation game. You're going to see guys score. You're going to see more high scoring. You're going to see good defense. I'm really excited about it, and I hope that you guys are too. This is a team that it's young, and I'm just excited for. I'm a little bit repeating myself here. It's just there's not much more to be said. There's not much. All that you can take away from this trip is they played 10 games together, or excuse me, spent 10 days together, played some games together. That's exciting. Syracuse basketball's future is looking bright, guys. I can't wait to get into it, and let's go Orange, baby. Woo!
Thank you for listening to Orange Heat, done by pursuing sports broadcaster and high school student Giovanni Heater. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at GeoHeater. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more Syracuse athletics and Orange Heat action. Let's go Orange!